aim of achieving national development and unity. Good morning and welcome to the 8th National Assembly 3rd section from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on this very fateful Wednesday, yes, 14th, in the month of March 2018 proceedings. It is clear that the proceedings each day are always purposeful with discourse, with this vibrant legislators sorting out how we can achieve total peace in Nigeria, how we can live together and achieve successful atmosphere for everyone. Now, it's believable that every Nigerian, every citizen has a role to play. And then, do you ever think that you have a role in contributing to national development and the governance of Nigeria? Well, it's today we are optimistic of that after the prayers. The proceedings shall commence with presentations of bill, there shall be bills for concurrence, and then there shall be considerations of reports by different senators from different states and constituencies. This is NAS Television. You can always subscribe to us via Facebook, YouTube, and all you need to do getting us on our Facebook is to type Nigeria Senate, and then you click on to search, and then will unfold what transpires in the chamber. And you can also visit us on our website at www.nas.gov.ng, where we take you through the events of the day. Please do not go away. Join us shortly as the proceedings starts proper. I am Christy Abodagi from NAS Television. Good morning.
Help us with thy grace to join in those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. Seats. Distinguished senators, please take your seats. Senator Sabi Aliyu, please take your seat. Senator Abu Ibrahim Kassina, please take your seat. Senator Joseph Obina, Chairman Sports, Ebonyi, please take your seat. Senator Babakaka Bauchi, please take your seat. Senator Hazan Yobe, please take your seat. Senator Adebayo, Kwara South, contiguous constituency with mine. Please take your seat. Senator Clifford Odia, Edo Central. Please take your seat. Thank you for taking your seat. Senator Adokwe, my favorite herdsman in Nigeria of Nasarawa, please take your seat. He doesn't carry a gun. Senator, elder statesman, Abdullahi
Adam, the Abate rule of the source. Please stop disturbing the whip of the Nigerian Senate. Senator Dido Melaye, Kogi West, please take your seat. Mr. President, sir, you're welcome. The chamber is set for your presiding roles.
Thank you, Chief Whip. I should be welcoming you from representing me yesterday. Votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 13th March 2018, page 2189, 2190, 2191, 2192, 2193, 2194, 2195, 2196, 2197, 2198, 2199, 2200, 2201, 2202, 2203, 2204, 2205, 2206, 2207, 2208, 2209, 2210, 2211, 2212, 2213, 2214, 2215, 2216, 2217, 2218, 2219, 2220, 2221, 2222, 2223, 2224, 2225, 2226, 2227, 2228, 2229, 2230, 2231, 2232, 2233, 2234, 2235, 2236, 2237, 2238, 2239, 2240, 2241, 2242, 2243, 2244, 2245, 2246, 2247, 2248, 2249, 2250. 2251, 2252, 2253, 2254, 2255, 2256, 2257, 2258, 2259, 2260, 2261, 2262, 2263, 2264, 2265. Senator Tijani Kaura, Zamfara North.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Tijani Kaura. I represent Zamfara North Senatorial District. I rise to move that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 13th of March 2018 be approved. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Mohammed Hassan, Yobe South.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mohammed Hassan, Yobe South Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 13th March 2018 be adopted. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 13th March 2018 be approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 13th March 2018 is hereby approved. Announcement. Letter from Mr. President. Confirmation of appointment in accordance with provisions of Section 812 of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Establishment Act 2007. I have the pleasure to present Mr. Edward Lamtek Adamu for confirmation as Deputy Governor of Central Bank, replacing one of the Deputy Governors who retired in December 2017. Please find attached a copy of his curriculum vitae. While looking forward for usual expeditious considerations, please accept, Mr. President, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Muhammad Buhari. Announcement of the burial schedules of my late mother, Mrs. Matilda Wabonwa. I wish to announce to you and my colleagues attending my mother's burial ceremonies that the following arrangements are made for the events. 1. The body leaves Port Harcourt for Arochukwu by 11 a.m. on Thursday, 5th of April, 2018, after a commendation service at St. Andrew's Anglican Church, opposite Shell Industry Area Gate. Christian waykeeping starts by 9 p.m. 5th of April at the family house in Atani, Orochukwu. 6th April 2018, 11 a.m. funeral service holds at the mini stadium, Barak Road, Orochukwu. And 6th of April, 1 p.m. interment of the body of Mama at the family house at Atani, Orochukwu. For inquiries, especially for our senators coming by air, contact persons have been provided for the routes as follows: Owerri, Senator T.A.O.G. Uchendu and Senator Sam Ayawu. Uyo, Senator Godswill Akpabio and Senator Basi Akpan. Port Harcourt, Senator Magnus Abe and Right Honorable Austin Ogbara. I look forward to seeing everyone there and thank you for coming. Senator Mao Wabunwa. Announcement: there will be a meeting of conference committee on the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill as follows: Wednesday, 14th March 2018, conference room 313, Senate Building, time 1 p.m. Distinguished senators are pleased requested to be in attendance. Signed, Senator Tayo Alashadura. I wish to acknowledge the presence of staff and students of Nigeria Canadian College, Jabi, Abuja, staff and students of Baptist School, Garki, Abuja, staff and students of Emmanuel's Learning Spring High School, Maraba, Nasarawa State, staff and students of Handmaids Girls Secondary School, Kuje, in Abuja, who are all in a gallery to observe our proceedings. I wish you all a fruitful observations of the Senate proceedings. You may now sit down. Petitions? Yes, Senator Basi Akpan.
Thank you, Mr. President. my distinguished and respected colleagues, Senator Basi Akpan, Akwa Ibom Northeast. Mr. President, I have a petition from my constituent, Sergeant Ekpo Basi, against the Nigerian Police Force for unlawful dismissal, Mr. President. There is no legal remedy sought, Mr. President. By the leave of Mr. President, can I please lay this petition, Mr. President?
Yes, come on, lay it. Yes, Senator Barao Jibrin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barao Jibrin. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, I have a petition from one of my constituents whose name is Mrs. J.R.I.M. Ayakabu. She was an employee of the Central Bank of Nigeria before her employment was wrongly terminated. So she has a conviction that she was terminated, not based or not in accordance with the rules and regular guiding the, her employment. So she is asking this August Senate to intervene in the matter so that justice will be brought to bear in her case. Mr. President, may I lay the petition on the table?
Yes, come and lay the petition. The petitions refer to ethics and privileges. Report back in 2 weeks. Yes, Senator Bocha.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Bocha, I represent Taraba South. Mr. President, I rise to present a petition and also on the strength of Order 43 of our standing rules, I want to crave the indulgence of the chair to highlight the content of the petitions and also make personal explanations. Mr. President, like I said, I represent...
You have a petition? No, you do your petition first.
Yes. I will submit the petition and then also stand on Order 43 to make personal explanations.
Let me recommend you on your petition, then you come on point of order for you. What's your petition about?
Petition is from the joint churches of the Christian Reformed Church of Nigeria and the RCCN, all predominantly domiciled in Taraba South. And it also has to do with the operations of the Operation CAT. Is a CAT eyes or CAT race or CAT operation that is being carried out by the military. The churches are of the opinion that they support this operation to the extent that the right thing will be done. But Mr. President, what they see is soldiers moving through midnight and breaking into houses and beating up civilians. And they will conduct searches where these arms are not found. Mr. President, the church is worried to the extent that some people are even, in fact, 2 days ago, I received a text message from a member of this senatorial district referring to this army as soldiers of...
So all this is in a petition. It's a petition from your constituency? Okay.
These churches, so that people don't misconstrue the good intentment government is coming out with. Otherwise,
all right, lay your petition. All right, petition also referred to ethics and privileges. Report back in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Senator Jimilai.
Mr. President,
my very, very respected colleagues, Dino Melaye, Kogi West. Mr. President, I draw inspiration from the rules of the Senate 42.1. The matter of discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Mr. President, I bring to the attention of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria the plan, not only plan, but the actions of Kogi State government to introduce state police through the back door. Mr. President, this morning I bring to the Senate a law passed by Kogi State government and signed into law by the governor of Kogi State that talks about the establishment of the vigilante service group. Mr. President, I have that law here. It's already a law of the Kogi State government. And by the time I peruse this law is in conflict with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This law, Mr. President, alters the function of the Nigerian police as stipulated in Section 214 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Mr. President, it is a fact that states can make laws through or via the houses of assembly as enshrined in Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. But the laws they will make must not be in conflict with the provisions of the Constitution. Mr. President, I seek your indulgence to read a section of the law passed by Kogi State government. It said the vigilante group will be involved in detection and prevention of crime, the apprehension of criminals, the preservation of law and order, the protection of lives and property, will assist other security and paramilitary agencies in the discharge of their duty, to assist other security agencies in government installations, to assist other security agencies in maintaining law and order in any economic, political, and social gathering. There shall be a controller of vigilante services. There is also a deputy controller general of the vigilante services. Mr. President, the most affront on the Constitution is in Section 15 of that law. It says the vigilante service group shall carry 10 guns, hunters guns, and other light weapons that are commensurate with their duties and responsibilities. Mr. President, this is how Metacine started in Kano. It was not contained, it became ravaging.
Okay, distinguished colleagues, so thank you. According to our rules, you've come under Section 42, which I need the leave of our colleagues.
I have the indulgence of the...
You came under 52. Okay, so I take the leave of our members so that we can take this motion. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have carry on.
Mr. President, this is how Boko Haram started. This is how Sarah Suka started. Mr. President, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will not fold our arms and close our eyes where a state government is equipping militia group to raise havoc on innocent citizens. As I speak to you, Mr. President, this group is already killing in every part of Kogi State. There is record of killings in Okene, record of killings in Adabi, there's record of killing in Lokoja, and this group already are carrying AK-47 and pump actions openly in Kogi State. Mr. President, this will now just oppose the reason why military uniforms and hardwares were imported into this country. It will now justify why military weapons and gadgets were addressed as sporting equipment for the purpose of illegal importation. Mr. President, this is a very serious issue, and I also want to read Section 1(3) of the Constitution, that the laws of Kogi State cannot override the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 1(3) reads, Mr. President, if any law is inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void. Mr. President, my prayer this morning is that I move a motion that the Committee on Intelligence and Security, or Security and Intelligence, meet with the National Security Advisor so that this group can be disbanded, because it's an affront on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they are also carrying out the fundamental functions of the Nigerian police. A law that will say you can carry arms and ammunition, and you are not a security agency. Kogi State Vigilante Group is alien to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They have no role in the Constitution, and this Senate must ensure safe. I want to thank you for your attention and your speedy reactions. Thank you.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support the motion ably moved by Senator Dino Melaya. Quite unfortunately, it is Kogi again. Kogi again. Kogi again. And then here we are in the Senate trying to make laws to enable the youth who can vote in election to be voted for. And we are seeing a very youthful governor trying to give the impression that we elders should continue to recycle ourselves because of the fact that it looks like the youths are not ready. But I do know that the youths of Nigeria are ready to contribute their quota towards nation building. So, Mr. President, I want to take the liberty of this moment to second this motion as moved by Senator Dino with a slight amendment that we should also add the Committee on Judiciary when the Committee on Intelligence will be meeting with the National Security Advisor. And of course, we have not yet received any interim report on the military hardware recently imported into the country. And so we cannot say yet that it is because of that law that those hardwares were actually going towards Kogi State. But if they are, finally when the report comes, then it will be most unfortunate. I believe it's something that must be nipped in the bud. And having been a governor before, we were very circumspect about arming militants or arming youths, because it will be very difficult at the end of the day, even after you have left office, for you to retrieve those weapons. And to hear that there is a law at all mentioning the idea of people carrying light weapons in a state is not only condemnable, it's something that must be looked into, because Nigeria has been struggling with the proliferation of arms and light weapons and trying to control it in the entire West African region. And I can see that what is happening now is almost legalizing illegality and legalizing thuggery and militancy, if indeed this kind of law comes to be. So I rise to second the motion, and I want to urge that let this not be true.
And even before the committee moves into action, I would like to urge my former colleague in the Kogi State Government House to quickly call his House of Assembly and see what he can do so that peace can prevail in this country. I second this motion, Mr. President, and I want this Senate to also condemn in totality what has just happened in Kogi State. I so second, sir.
Yes, Senator Butcher.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I remain Senator Boacha, I represent Taraba South. A while ago, I didn't know a motion was coming in respect of insecurity. And I tried to come under personal explanation on Order 43. Mr. President, the situation we are faced with in this country has reached a freezing point. Such a situation that would have called for a halt in governance. We are supposed, or we as a nation, should stop virtually everything and now focus on the security of individuals. We cannot be talking about elections in 2019 when Nigerians are no longer sleeping. Nigerians are scampering for lives. The story is the same from Lokoja to Zamfara, from Zamfara to Taraba, Adamawa, Benue. The south, nowhere is spared. And I think, Mr. President, we need to know that there are different forces that have coalesced together to take away peace from Nigeria. One of these forces we often refer to as the Boko Haram. This one has not hidden its agenda to ensure that it establishes a caliphate. The second force has its agenda tied to expansionism, to expand territories, to acquire more territories. The third force also has in its own agenda a political agenda intended to annihilate others. And we must learn, Mr. President, from history that Hitler didn't succeed in his quest to promote the Aryan race against the interests of other nations. Neither Pol Pot of Colombia succeeded. We must learn the lesson. If we do not stop everything and address this matter, we will wake up one day and our country will not be there, God forbid. People are discouraged. People don't appear to have confidence in our security operatives. Why? Because there are certain issues on ground that need to be addressed. Mr. President, this is no longer business as usual. As representatives of the people, we must be seen showing concern that we will no longer accept this situation. The matter is beyond boundary of religion, boundary of party, boundary of ethnocentrism, and any other issues you will think about. It's beyond everybody. We must wake up and stop and collectively address this matter. Otherwise, we'll be deceiving ourselves. And let us forget about addressing our individual problem, individual desire for bread. We must stop this and look at Nigerians that are... I was in tears yesterday when I saw people running, campaigning for life from Plateau on China's television. These are Nigerians that deserve to be protected. The story is the same everywhere. Everywhere there is no peace. Peace has taken flight. Mr. President, we must show sufficient concern. Let us not come and stop here and be grandstanding and playing to gallery as if you want to be seen being a good boy somewhere. No. It's beyond that. It's about the lives of Nigerians that are dying in their numbers. It has never been that bad before. Thank you, Mr. President, for...
Mr. President, my very distinguished and eminent colleagues, let me thank you for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this very, very topical issue today. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, as you all know, I have always been and I will remain an advocate of state policing as part of the solutions to the problems of this country. But for us to do this thing and do it well, we have to be careful and we have to do it in a manner that takes the confidence of the public into consideration. In my own state, Rivers State, the Rivers State House of Assembly has just passed a law called the Neighborhood something called Bill or something. And that law provides for these people to carry arms, provides for them to take every order from the governor of the state, makes all sorts of provisions, and even provide powers to these corps members that even the Nigerian police currently do not have. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, this problem is not just a Kogi problem. It is a Nigerian problem, and we should deal with it as a Nigerian problem. Rivers State is also involved. I think it is important that we should engage these states where these issues are. Let us know exactly what they want to achieve and how they are going to achieve it in the context of our present constitution. In the context of our present constitution, which does not at this time provide for the establishment of state security forces. So I want to lend my voice to this motion and to add that the situation in Rivers State should also be considered along with the situation in Kogi State. And to also plead, sir, that we should get the Attorney General of the Federation involved. Let us call these people, let us meet with them, let us know what they want to do and how we can do it in a manner that is consistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because as at this time, we have not made any amendment that will allow states to run the kind of forces that they want to run at this time. So I want to plead, sir, that in considering the situation in Kogi, we should also take the situation in Rivers into very deep consideration, because we all know what has happened in Rivers State in the past, and if we allow this kind of thing to go on, nobody knows what the consequences will be. So I just wanted to add my voice to this motion.
Okay, we go straight to prayer. The one item, prayer item, that the contribute. Okay, Senator Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, let me just lend my voice to what has been happening, because I'm probably the nearest neighbor to Kogi here in the Senate. I'm just next door to Kogi, and I know what we're facing. I want to say, sir, that I am worried that we will be talking about one person, one state, and we will have such information about that state, and that man is a young man, and he is in charge as the governor in the state, and nothing has been heard from him. He has not even reacted positively to all the problems that we have stated in this Senate. Something has to be done. Lives must be sacrosanct. We must be able to protect lives and properties of people. And this particular person is very defiant. He has defied everything that has been said and has been done. And Mr. President, I just want to react quickly to what Senator Magnus Abbey said. We are talking particularly about one person with whom we have found enough evidence to say something is wrong. We're not talking about somebody that we have not heard anything about. And we're not talking about a state that has not been in the eye of the storm. And there is no security challenge right now there. We're talking about states like Plateau, like Kogi, where there are serious challenge, like Zamfara. And we should always restrict ourselves to such issues so that we don't water down what we say in this Senate. So going by this, Mr. President, I want to say, I appreciate what he's saying, and I say if you don't take cognizance of it and act now, Ekiti will be affected in no distant future. Thank you very much.
All right, they'll go to the Deputy President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered saying anything anyway. But I just want to join Magnus to say that I'm an apostle of state police. And I sympathize with the Kogi State people and government because most of the governors are reacting to the actual situation we found on ground. We have very few number of policemen for our country. I will keep saying these policemen are overstretched, and that's why we now brought the soldiers to come and assist. And now the soldiers are overstretched. I understood that some of our colleagues who went to Zamfara, they discovered that in Zamfara, with all the security situation there, they don't have more than 300 military men there in a place as wide as Zamfara. So you can see how stretched our security forces are. So, and we keep saying that the type of security architecture we have cannot protect our people. So it is in realization of this that almost every governor, it's not just Zamfara, it's not just Kogi, have set up one kind of vigilante or the other. But the danger of these things is that they are not regulated perfectly well. Because a state governor will then set up his own law and then do whatever he wants to do with the law. But if we have a situation where there's an act of National Assembly or an amendment to the Constitution that provides for state police, then the issue of the regulation now comes in. We'll be able to get the best practice from other countries such as Brazil on how they were able to set up their decentralized police, and then they're able to ensure that there is provision for how they function and they are well regulated. But this time now, allow everybody to use devices. You know, so, and right now we're talking about Kogi State. So, and we have had the provisions of the law. So, I don't think it would be fair, for instance, for us to begin to go into any other state, unless the law is before us, for us to be able to make an informed opinion on it. So, because it appears to be speculative. So, I only differ with him in respect of reference to River State. If any person has any problem with the state, anywhere, you come up with the law and let us know what it is. We will be in the position to be able to address that. So for now, I think that we begin to think seriously about the issue of state police. And I'm happy that APC, as a party, have endorsed the issue of state police. And it is time for us to come up with a bill to begin to deal with this before we start having this kind of proliferation of security agencies.
Yeah, just let me quickly recognize Senator Ume. I know we're used to just two parties here, so sometimes we miss you. So let me take your contribution.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity. I am Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent the good people of Anambra Central Senatorial District. Distinguished colleagues, this vigilante issue is a very critical issue in Nigeria. I've listened to contributors to this motion. It is very unfortunate that Kogi State has been in the news on this abuse for some time now. But it behoves on me to point out to this distinguished Senate that vigilante services have worked in some states of the Federation in helping to maintain peace and security in those states. I give you Anambra State as an example. The Anambra State Vigilante Group was established about 9 years ago due to the high rate of crimes in that state. And the State Assembly passed a law establishing it. The vigilante services in Anambra State is so structured that even the commander is a retired commissioner of police. There is no person serving in that vigilante service group in Anambra State that is not known by the commander and other people working in that group. So I want us to treat the issue of Kogi as a special case, and in those areas where we have serious security challenges in the country. Just about 2 weeks ago, there was an order by the Inspector General of Police that small arms in the possession of these vigilante men should be withdrawn. That order caused tension in Anambra State, because today Anambra State prides itself as the safest state in Nigeria. Before, it was very notoriously unsafe. These vigilante people have complemented the efforts of the conventional security forces in combating crime. The place is very safe now. And when I went home last weekend, even religious leaders whispered to me that this order to withdraw arms, they are not comfortable with it. The vigilant people have supported the security efforts of the government in Anambra State, and the place is very safe. I appreciate that in some places, like in the northeast and Zamfara northwest, and now in Kogi, people who parade themselves as vigilante people may have misused the opportunities of the arms they carry. So I want to say that it is important why we condemn vigilante in some states. We have to commend the use of vigilante in places where it has worked very effectively, like in my own states. That was why I was insisting that I should be recognized to speak when I was waving my hand. My people want these vigilante services in Anambra State. Indeed, if you dispense with vigilante services in Anambra State, the state of insecurity will return. And our people are very anxious about it. The governor of Kogi State has not used this opportunity in a noble manner. What we have heard from our distinguished colleagues from Kogi State remains source of worry. So I want this distinguished Senate, if they want to intervene on this issue, let them isolate those states where vigilante services have been used to abuse people and terrorize the people. It will not be accepted. So I join in condemning what happens in Kogi, but at the same time, I'm constrained to bring to your attention, Mr. President, that the people of Anambra State cherish the vigilante services they currently have. So if there's anything that will be done, I would like us to put it in a manner that where they have, these vigilante groups have posed threats to lives of other people and free movement of people, action should be taken against them in those states. And as they come up in other states, we can expand our intervention. Thank you, Mr. President. I believe that I've spoken the minds of my people, and we want to use this opportunity to ask IG to leave Anambra State Vigilante Services alone. That state is very peaceful, very safe, and the safest state in Nigeria today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Prayer that the Senate Committee, that the Committee on Security, Intelligence and Judiciary invite the National Security Advisor to investigate and advise the Attorney General of the Federation with a view to disband this unconstitutional body. That's the prayer. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. There is any additional prayer? Yes, additional prayer, Senator Magnus Abbey.
That the committee should also look into the Neighborhood Watch Bill passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly and advise the state governor, please allow me to make my additional prayer. You can have your opinion when I've finished. Yes, sir. That the committee should also look into the Neighborhood Watch Bill passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly and also intervene to see that the matter is brought under control and the bill is, the Neighborhood Watch is not allowed to operate in the infringement of the Constitution. That is my addition.
Yeah, but can you repeat, because I'm trying to note it down, that the committee will also look into the Neighborhood Bill.
Yes, in view of the situation in Rivers State, and intervene and make the same intervention in the case of Rivers State as in Kogi. Thank you, sir.
Yes, second. Senator Chendu.
His Excellency, my dear colleagues, I am Senator Andrew Chendu, Rivers East Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion, the prayer moved by Senator Magnus Abbey. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, this additional prayer that the Senate also look into the Neighborhood Bill passed by the Rivers State government and make the same intervention as in Kogi State. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the first order. Order, please. Order. Order, please. Order, please. Order. Order. The workers in action. Order. Mr. Alero, order. Mr. Nakudu, order. Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the first business of the day is presentation of the bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Jibrin Barau on the National Board for Technical Education Repeal and Enactment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Board for Technical Education Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 560, first reading.
National Board for Technical Education Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 560, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Abdullah Igumed on the Leadership and Training Center Act Amendment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Leadership and Training Center Act Amendment Bill 2018, SB 642, first reading.
Leadership and Training Center Act Amendment Bill 2018, SB 642, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Chief Whip.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, arise under Order 56, with which most of us are, naturally not most, all of us are very familiar. For example, subsection.
Okay. Mike, your mic.
During a sitting, all senators shall be silent or confer only in other tones. Subsection 9 says, when a senator is speaking, no senator may converse aloud or make any noise or disturbance to interrupt him. Section 12 says, no senator may interrupt another senator while speaking. So many provisions of Order 56 are being flagrantly violated today. Mr. President, I need your august intervention to restore some decorum in the chamber.
Distinguished colleagues, the Chief Whip has come on an order with which, please, we need to ensure that we maintain the kind of decorum that is expected of this chamber. So please let us comply accordingly. The point of order is sustained. Who was on the floor again? Clerk, Senate Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My distinguished colleague, the third business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Jibrin Barau on the National Commission for Colleges of Education Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Commission for Colleges of Education Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 561, first reading.
National Commission for Colleges of Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 561, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, the fourth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Jibrin Barau on the Federal College of Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Colleges of Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 562, first reading.
Federal Colleges of Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, SB 562, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, the first order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as members of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with Section 12, 1 and 4 of the CBN Act 2007. 1. Professor Adeola Festus Adeni Kinju, and 2. Dr. Aliyu Rafinda Sanusi. 3. Dr. Robert Chikwendu Asogba, and 4. Dr. Ashek A. Maidugo. Mr. President and distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, be referred to the appropriate committee for further legislative action, and I so move, sir.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved by the leader, even as we had highlighted the significance of this exercise because of the critical role the CBN plays in our economy. I so, Mr. President, rise to second that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President on the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons as highlighted by the leader as members of the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, of the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with the provisions of Section 12(1)(4) of the CBN Act 2007. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This is referred to the Committee on Banking and report back within 1 week. Central Rafi Ibrahim, 1 week. We will report back. Leader of the Senate.
While thanking my colleague for this gesture, I again move the second motion, sir, which is the second order of the day, which is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the confirmation of the nomination of Mrs. Aisha Ahmad for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with Section 812 of the CBN Act 2007. Mr. President and distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, be referred to the appropriate committee for further legislative action. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President in the confirmation of the nomination of Aisha Ahmad for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with provisions of Section 812 of the CBN Act 2007 and be referred to the relevant committee as so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate should consider the request of the President CNC in the commission of Mrs. Aisha Ahmed, and also one earlier read today of Mr. Edward Lamtek Adamu, and referred to appropriate committees. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This is referred to Committee on Banking. Again, within 1 week, your report should come back. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Suleiman Adokwe and two others on the demise of His Excellency Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma, OON. Mr. President, you will call that on Thursday, the 8th day of March 2018,
the Senate vide order 42.2 of our standing order approved that this motion be moved to another legislative day, which is today. Accordingly, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Suleiman Adoke to move the motion, Mr. President.
Senator Suleiman Adoke.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Suleiman Adoke. I represent Nasarawa South Senatorial District. The motion that I'm moving is co-sponsored by my distinguished colleagues, Senator Abdullah Adamu and Senator Philip Agwajinka. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate knows with a deep sense of loss and absolute submission to the will of Almighty God, the passing away of former Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma, OON, the mother of Chidoma, whose death occurred on Tuesday, 6th of March 2018 after a brief illness in Israel. The Senate also notes that the late Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma was born on the 1st of September 1942 in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State. He attended Doma Junior Primary School and Lafia Senior Primary School between 1951 and 1957. The Senate notes further that late Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma attended Government Secondary School Katina Allah and Higher Teacher Training College Gombe, where he obtained the good teacher certificate in 1963. The Senate is aware that he attended the University of Ibadan from 1964 to 1966, the British Drama League, London, England, 1968, and the World Tourism Organization Center for Advanced Tourism Studies, Turin, Italy, 1973. Late Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma furthered his education in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in 1976, and Ambrose Ali University of Okoma, 1983 until 1984, when the military, I beg your pardon, where he obtained his master's degree in public administration. Aware also that the late Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma enjoyed an excellent career in civil service of northern Nigeria, Benue Plateau, and Plateau State, culminating in attaining the pinnacle as a permanent secretary. While serving as a permanent secretary, he was drafted into politics by the late Chief Solomon Lal as his deputy governor from 1983 until 1984, when the military terminated the Second Republic. The Senate observes that the highlights of his civil and public service career included but not limited to the fact that he was an outstanding cultural tourism manager and policy developer. He was the artistic director of the Nigerian contingent to Festac 77. For a long period of time, he was the chairman of the Center for Black and African Civilization, CIPAC. The Senate further observes that he was appointed a member of the Presidential Joint National Consultative and Advisory Committee of Traditional Rulers and Leaders of Thought between 1995 and 1998. He was also a member of the National Committee on the Future of Higher Education in Nigeria from 1996 to 1998. The Senate recalls that he was appointed a member of the Technical Committee on Presidential Council of Tourism in 2004. He held private sector positions as chairman of Integrated Tourism Consultants in 2003 and as a representative of Steer Nigeria Limited. Late Aliyu Akwedoma capped his political career when he became the second executive governor of Nasarawa State in 2007 on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, succeeding my distinguished colleague Senator Abdullah Adamu. The Senate notes that Aliyu Akwedoma cast a figure image in Nasarawa State, being the arrowhead in the movement and actualization of the creation of the state. He was concerned for the rapid development of the state and therefore famous for his 13-point development agenda, agriculture being the priority to the extent that the state commenced exportation of yams to Europe. Notes above all that His Excellency late Aliyu Akwedoma will be most remembered for his dogged pursuit of peace, and it is to his eternal credit that Nasarawa State did not witness any crisis throughout its 4 years of governance. We note that Aliyu Akwedoma was a major influence in the politics of Nasarawa State, and his influence will remain for many years to come because he left behind a huge army of political faithfuls and unwavering loyalists. This Senate contends that the demise of this cultural guru, astute administrator, political icon, and traditional title holder was a great loss to the people of Nasarawa State in particular and in Nigeria in general. He was buried on Sunday, 11th of March 2018 in hometown Doma, Nasarawa State, in accordance with Islamic rites. This Senate accordingly resolves to observe a minute silence in respect of the late Alhaji Ali Akwedoma, former governor of Nasarawa State, and resolves also to send a delegation to condole with the family, government, and people of Nasarawa State over this great national loss. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Vladimir.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senate President. My very dear colleagues, I stand to add my voice in support of the motion very ably moved by my colleague, Senator Suleiman Asonya Adekwe, on the demise of my brother, late Governor Aliyu Akwedoma. Mr. President, I make this contribution with a very, very heavy heart, but with gratitude to Almighty Allah, who gave us Governor Aliyu Akwedoma and who took him away from us. Verily, every life must taste of death. That is what the holy books have told us. Governor Aliyu Akwedoma, I got to know way back in 1975 when I was privileged to be appointed as the Executive Secretary, Benue Plateau Construction Company, during General Abdullahi Mohammed's government in Benue Plateau State. When I got into government, he was already a permanent secretary in the governor's office. Because we come from the same general geopolitical area, we got on very, very well. Everything he did in his life that was of public interest, I was interested in it. And I was, to some extent, party to most of the things that he did from the time I met him up to the time he became my successor in office as governor of Nasarawa State. Mr. President, Alhaji Aliyu Akwedoma was one of the most peace-loving people I could know in my life this far. He was very accommodating. He had a passion for the development of our state. He is a very, very destabilized person. And he was not one of those people you count as a religious extremist. He contested election against me, Mr. President, on 2 occasions. And on 2 occasions, God gave me victory over him. But when I was exiting, knowing his background, and in my desire to have a successor who knew what government was all about, I removed the partisanship in my mind against the propagation of my party men and women. And I, with the help of God, got him to leave his party, which was the ANPP, to join the PDP, and contested on our platform and won the election as governor of Nasarawa State. Throughout his period as governor, he did well. He did what his circumstances would permit him to do. And If you saw the people who attended his funeral on Sunday, that was a very good testimony of people about what they think about him, how they saw him as a father of that state. We surely will miss him. It is my hope and my prayer that whatever he did in his lifetime that rubbed positively on the fortunes of Nasarawa State and Nigeria at large, those of us who believe in those traits will continue to work for the realization of those principles, those objectives that he worked for when he lived. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you.
Senator Gamadi,
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Barnabas Gamadi. I represent Benue Northeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I rise to just add a very short statement about the demise of the gentleman that we are all paying tribute to this morning or this afternoon. Mr. President, Alhaji Aliu Akwedoma had his formative years of secondary education in my senatorial zone, precisely at the Government College, Katsina Ala, and was able to also speak the local language very well as other brothers of mine from Nasarawa State who had privilege to study in Benue, like Alhaji Abdullah Adamu, and indeed other neighbors very close to us as Suleiman Adokwe. We live together as a people, and Aliu Akwedoma will be remembered for being a true gentleman in politics. Some people accuse him of being too gentlemanly, to leave things in a way that he was defeated after first tenure and did not have a second term. In politics, they think you have to be fierce and plan for all the devilish plans people are making against you. He may have overlooked some of those issues that made him lose second term, but certainly he will be remembered for his contributions to the development of Nasarawa State. And we, as brothers next door in Benue, remember him for good neighborliness. During his time, there was no strife between the two states, as his predecessor tried to align good understanding and brotherhood. He maintained it. And we certainly miss him. And with nostalgia, say we wish people like that were still in charge. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Distinguished colleagues, oh yes, Senator Bonka, yeah.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Philip Arua Junka representing Nasarawa North. I rise to also support and lend my voice and to speak about a father, a mentor, whom I served under him as a member of House of Assembly while he was the governor. Alhaji Aliu Akwedoma was an embodiment of administrative qualities. He piloted Nasarawa State using his wealth of experience as an administrator, as a father who believes in dialogue. And that earned him a hitch-free, strike-free tenure of his office. During his leadership, there was harmonious relationship between the executives, the legislators, and the judiciary. And that was informed by his word of his experience. He put it into bear to carry everyone along with him. They call him a father. Based on all he has put into practice, the state was governed without any riot, without any crisis. Even when he was living, many had a cause to say, had we known, we would have voted in. That gave him a credence that everybody admire his own administrative policies. Alhaji Aliyu Akuidoma is someone that was so dear to both young, old, and the youth. Based on his own administrative charisma, everybody would like to. Most of the youth in the state are willing. They want to emulate his leadership style, because he joined force to bring everyone together, to bring everyone in the piloting of, as a co-pilot of the administration of Nasarawa State during his tenure. Having said so, I would like to also further second that what had been said by my senior colleague, Senator Suleiman Adukwe, and our father, Senator Abdullah Adamu, should be upheld, and the recommendation of I would like to also be accepted, and I so support. Thank you. For the second,
I just go to prayers. I think prayer 1.
What had been said.
Observe 1 minute silence
by my senior colleague
of late Aliyu Akuidoma, former governor of Nasarawa State. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay.
And our father.
Yes, have it. Prayer 2, send a delegation to condole with the family, government, and people of Nasarawa State over these great national laws. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. Yes, have it. Can we now stand around so observe a minute silence? Respect of late Aliyu.
This motion be accepted, and I so support. Thank you.
Simply, I just go to prayer. Yes, I think prayer 1. Observe 1 minute, so rest in perfect in silence, in respect. Let me join Aliyu Akuidoma, former governor, their condolence the loss of this Nasarawa State. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye.
Of the Raw Material Research Development Council Act repeal and enactment bill 2018. You will recall that this bill was read the first time on Tuesday, the 20th day of February 2018. This bill seeks to provide a legal framework for value addition to natural resources through the application of technology. This is imperative for a competitive economy and attainment of sustainable development. Mr. President, the main objective of this bill is the issues of Nigeria's competitiveness, innovativeness, and productivity enhancement. The country is at the lowest ebb of her economic cycle and requires stabilization and quick but orderly recovery. The days of excess foreign exchange earning and huge foreign exchange reserve with positive balance of payment position and strong currency exchange rates are over. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, it is globally accepted that the ability of a country to compete and prosper depends to a significant extent more on the development of technological capacities and innovation than exploitation of natural resources. Nigeria is a very good case study of what is wrong
in mere exploitation of natural resources without value addition. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, it is pertinent to note that Nigeria, with over 170 million people, is a resource-based economy driven by the exploitation of natural resources, especially oil and gas. The country is also endowed with solid minerals, water and forest resources, as well as rich soil and enabling climate for commercial agriculture. The large domestic market should serve as a further incentive for the emergence of a strong industrial base. Although natural resources play a significant role in the development of the Nigerian economy, this role is already diminishing, and the world economy is becoming increasingly globalized. Knowledge-intensive and technology-driven. Distinguished colleagues, there is no gainsaying that the Nigerian economy has grown substantially over the years, with huge foreign earnings from oil and increased agricultural output. In recent times, the services sector has also overtaken the industrial sector in terms of contribution to overall gross domestic product, GDP. In 2014, services accounted for close to 60% of Nigeria's GDP, a rise from about 53% in 2011. This figure is comparable to those of other large economies in Africa, such as Tunisia, but lower than that for South Africa, where the sector accounts for close to 70% of the GDP. In essence, to exploit the natural resources Nigeria is abundantly endowed with optimally, technologies have to be deployed, which requires research and development to add value to our resources and create value chains that will increase employment and increase foreign exchange earnings. Mr. President, despite effort made over the years to exploit the natural resources, very limited progress has been recorded in value-added manufacturing, including processing agricultural resources, beneficiation of mineral resources, refining of petroleum, development of petrochemical and production of industrial machinery and equipment, etc. Additionally, despite the growth recorded in 2010-2015, the country by the end of 2015 had experienced sluggish economic growth, with the rate dropping into an estimated 3.0% in December 2015. African Economic Outlook 2016, this development led the government to adopt an expansionary budget in 2016 to stimulate the economy, Mr. President. The sluggish growth is attributed mainly to a slowdown in economic activity, adversely impacted by inadequate supply of foreign exchange and aggravated by the foreign exchange restriction targeted at a list of some imports, some of which are inputs for manufacturing and agro-industry. Among the effects are cuts in production and layoff of labor in some sectors, including financial services. Nigerian enterprises are currently facing challenges in relation to the emerging development in the economy, which they perceive to be affecting the industrial sector and businesses negatively. In addition, Mr. President, the manufacturing sector is facing and will continue to face increasing competition as trade liberalization and globalization intensify and progressively transform the world economy into a vast free trading zone. Mr. President and my respected colleagues, at the regional and continental level, they are facing growing competition as free trade agreement and economic partnership agreements are steadily being implemented. At the national level, increased competition is being experienced not only from industrial countries, but from large industrializing countries and emerging economies such as China, India, and Brazil. It is important, Mr. President, to reiterate the fact that competitiveness evolves as a market mechanism which forces enterprises to measure up with each other in the production and distribution of goods and services at the best possible price and quality. Hence, it is believed that market mechanism foster competition and efficiency in resource allocation, promote the survival of the fittest enterprise and eliminate the less efficient ones. In essence, competitiveness can be enhanced by strengthening market mechanism, building competitive advantage, fostering appropriate value system, and boosting innovation. Raw Material Research Development Council 2009. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, it is in line of the above argument that I consider it necessary to amend this bill to allow for resources value chain to be created in such a way that will allow for competitiveness.
This in turn will strengthen the hands of our industry and bring about great comparative advantage to our industry. I thank you for the attention and therefore respectively urge you to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you very much, my colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, my name is Barnabas Gemade. I represent Benue Northeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, sir, my distinguished colleagues, I stand to
this bill. Thank you very much, my colleagues.
This bill for second reading on the ground of its Mr. President, important nature. And once again, my name there are three levels of industrialization. I represent Benue. First of all, you cannot think about producing anything if you do not have the natural this was the production of that thing that you want to produce. But secondly, if you do not develop that natural resource into a raw material for production, you can never get to the industrialized level. So industrialization is therefore hinged on the development of your raw material base. This agency, having been well thought and established for quite some time now, has tried to play its own part in the industrialization of Nigeria. But we notice that because of the very limited scope of its operations and the use of its results from research work, many industries in Nigeria today still depend on importation of raw materials from other nations. If you mine your natural resource and export it to other countries, you are selling the crude material without value added. And when you do processing of that raw material, then you add value to it and it becomes more expensive. Therefore, it becomes more profitable to you. And the advantage to developing raw material is that you skip one vital element in the chain of industrialization, which is very important and key to your success as an industrialized nation. Even if you are not yet in a position to make machinery for production, once you are able to cater for an advanced value-added raw material processing and production, then you are well on the way for a successful industrialization of your nation. So, Mr. President, I think the effort in repealing and reenacting this bill to improve on the services of the Raw Material Development Agency, it's very important and very timely at this time when the nation wishes to diversify. And diversification for us is in two main areas. One, agriculture, and two, solid minerals. None of the products in agriculture or solid minerals will earn you the desired level of income if you do not add value to what you recover. For this reason, I believe that the repealing of this enactment, an improvement on the bill, and reenacting one that will be more embracing, more versatile to cater for our desire for diversification at this time is very germane and very important. I therefore wholeheartedly support this bill, and I urge my colleagues to do so that it can be speedily passed into law. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, Senator Aliu.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I remain Mohammed Adamuele representing KB Central. Mr. President, I rise to give my support to this very important bill. It is timely because this is the time we should think of creating employment
for our people. And value addition of raw materials that are in abundance is one of the ways through which we can generate a lot of employment to our economy. Mr. President, let me give you an example. Even in the petroleum industry, where we export crude oil in large quantity, we could create employment by establishing refineries in Nigeria that can give value addition. By refining petroleum products in Nigeria, you can generate over 2 million jobs in Nigeria. But unfortunately, we are not using that opportunity. We have gone to the extent of importing refined petroleum products in Nigeria instead of doing the same thing in Nigeria and exporting crude oil. Singapore, Mr. President, is doing nothing but refining petroleum products and exporting these petroleum products to other countries in the world, and they are making huge amount of money. Why not Nigeria? Mr. President, in the solid mineral sector, most of what we are mining, we are exporting it outside for value addition. Why can't we do the same value addition here in Nigeria? So this bill is very timely, and I support it, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. In the agricultural sector, Mr. President, we have no business exporting cocoa when we have all it takes to add value to cocoa, raw cocoa we are producing in Nigeria, create employment, get money, save foreign exchange, and do a lot of things with it. So, distinguished colleagues, this bill, as I said, is timely, and we should pass it without any hesitation. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me take John. No, let me just take.
Mr. President, my name is John Oraneno, Cross River Central. Mr. President, I'd like to speak in support of the second reading of this bill. And I think, especially because what this bill seeks to achieve is to expand the legal basis, the legal framework for value addition to our raw materials with the application of technology. The greatest challenge, Mr. President, that our country faces is the challenge of diversification, diversifying our economy. I think that the potentials in terms of the resource base, raw materials and all that in our country there's no doubt about that. But I think having to improve on the raw materials in order to get more competitive as a country, more innovative and more productive remains our greatest challenge. I mean, all the emphasis we have continued to pay in terms of our oil industry and all that hasn't led to any real gains in terms of employment generation and in terms of the kind of foreign exchange that we need to win as a country. So I think that the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, as it presently is, has actually limited the ability of us as a country to see how much we can add value to the raw materials that we produce in our country. And I think, like what the speaker, the sponsor of this bill, has indicated, I think that the country and the world in particular is getting more and more competitive as a result of industrialization. And I think that we need to go a step further by having to release whatever limitations of the existing act in order to get us more innovative and more productive in terms of value addition to the raw materials that we develop or produce as a country. So I support the second reading of this bill, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, let me put your question. Those in favor that this bill now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Raw Material Research and Development Council Act, CAP R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and reenact the Raw Material Research and Development Council Act and for related matters 2018, second reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, Cap R3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and reenact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act and for related matter 2018, second reading taken. These bills refer to Committee on Science and Technology, report back in 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the fifth order of the day is the second reading of the Public Complaint Commission Act Cap P37 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 Amendment Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, the 30th day of November 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Balai Binala to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time. But before... Mr. President...
Go ahead. Yes. You're not ready? Okay. Leader, is that the lead debate coming? All right, as the leader of the chamber, we must respect that.
To another legislative day, I so move and call upon distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio to support the oncoming leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the very uncommon motion moved by the leader. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the sixth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Act Cap F118 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 Amendment Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 5th day of July 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Umaru I. Kurfi to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Kurfi, Katsina Central.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Umar Ibrahim Kupi, representing the good people of Katsina State. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I wish to commence by expressing my sincere appreciation for the opportunity given to me to move this motion on this very important issue. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to move my bill as follows. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead a debate on a bill and act to amend the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Act to provide for the social and national security in the East Geographical zones, Abuja and Lagos, to enhance the efficient service delivery of the corporation. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, let me use this opportunity to highlight a key background of the bill to provide justification for the laudable legislative initiative. The role of press, radio, television, and other agencies of the mass media which inspires the general public to appreciate the dynamic governance of the process and their rules with the same democratic process to facilitate good governance and development cannot be overemphasized. Section 39 of 1990 Constitution, as amended, guaranteed right to freedom of expression and the press, which include freedom to hold opinion and to receive and input ideas and information without interference. Similarly, under Section 22 of the same Constitution 1999, the press, radio, television, and other agencies of this mass media shall at all times be free to uphold the fundamental objective as provided in this chapter of the Constitution. The above significance of the press, particularly radio station, may not be realized in Nigeria given the history and current number of radio stations under the Federal Corporation of Nigeria. Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, the radio broadcasting was introduced in Nigeria in 1933 by the then colonial government. It relayed the overseas services of British Broadcasting Corporation through wide system and wide speakers on the end. The service was called Radio Duty System, RDS. RDS, from which the RDS merged to Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, NBC. In April 1951, Mr. T.W. Cham Britain and controller of BBC Light and Television Program, the first Director General of the NBC. The Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, NBC, came into being in 1957. Today, the FRCN, as a public broadcaster, was the headquarters in Abuja, has national station in Urgu, Ibadan, Kaduna, Gwagwalada, plus Lagos Operation Office. This national station and Lagos Operation Office control 37 FRCN, FM, MW, SW stations, separated across the country to more than 1 million listeners, broadcasting in 15 languages, creating the diverse broadcasting need of multi-ethnic Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation. The corporation was also four stations streaming live audio on the internet at www.radionigeria.government and www.radionigeria.online.com, thus reaching millions more in the world. The DPE is proposing a new national policy for the media sector, which when put in place will open to the media environment for a more qualitative, robust, and commercially viable industry in which the FRCN could operate commercially and survive. This will require the engagement of services of the policy advisor. The policy advisor will have the responsibility of producing the new policy, legal, regulatory framework for FRCN. A number of studies were commissioned in the past and harmonized report going upon more comprehensive reform for the national media sector. Unfortunately, the reform continues to remain in planning stage without implementation, while the Nigerian population is becoming larger than the few existing stations in Ketapo. Against this background, the bill is proposed to establish more national stations in each geopolitical zone, Abuja and Lagos, to enhance the efficient service delivery among other objectives. Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, the bill 6.1 amend the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Act F18 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2010 and enhance the efficient service delivery of the corporation. 2. Reposition of Federal Radio Corporation to acquire capacity to meet the information needs and expectations of Nigeria. 3. Diversify the services of the corporation to ensure listeners' satisfaction. 4. Substitute the position of managing director under the Act with directors under the bill to ensure harmonized and well-coordinated governance structure. 5. Facilitate productivity, efficiency, organize loyalty through a well-defined initiative hierarchy. 6. Promote the interest of the listeners through programs that accommodate religious, cultural, linguistic diversification of the listeners. 7. Stress the corporation to exercise statutory mandate effectively. 8. Empower the minister to make regulation in recognition of the tight schedule of the president in overseeing the affairs of the nation. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the bill has 7 clauses. Clause 1 amends the Principal Act which established the corporation. Clause 2 amends Section 7 of the Principal Act which deletes the word managing, since all federal national stations are directors and no longer managing directors. Clause 3 amends Section 14 of the Policy Act by substituting the entire section for a new clause which provides for the establishment of national stations in each geopolitical zone, Abuja and Lagos. Clause 4 substitutes the existing Section 15 for a new clause 15, which appoints directors for each national station as head of the executive and technical operation in the states. Clause 5 amends Section 16, which substituted the existing Section 16 for a new one, which substituted the function of directors in national stations established under Clause 4 of this bill. Clause 6 amends Section 32, which empowers the minister responsible for information to make regulation in order to relieve the president of his tight schedule. Finally, Clause 7 provides for citation of the bill. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, it is imperative to say that there are 4 national stations already existing in 3 geographical political zones, namely Kaduna, Enugu, Ibadan, plus 1 in Lagos and the other station in Abuja. The few ones that are needed will cost less in comparison with the total number proposed by the bill. The need to sustain a information network for the interest of Nigeria will always rank in priority, override the financial implications that facilitate the operation of such infrastructure. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to stop at this point to listen to your contribution, which will no doubt ensure help to pass the cases of this very important bill. I so submit, sir. Thank you very much for this.
Yes, Senator James Manja.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, James Manja is my name. I represent Delta South. Mr. President, I want to sincerely thank the sponsor of this very technical bill. The bill is very technical, and truly, as I stand to speak on this bill, I do not really understand the import.
Why are you speaking what you don't understand?
The import of this bill, but because the bill is very technical in nature, Mr. President, my respected colleagues, I would urge you, because this bill is talking about establishing more stations in 6 geopolitical zones, whereas we already have, according to the lead debate, and that is what we know, particularly on page 2, today the FRCN as a public broadcaster with its headquarters in Abuja has national stations in Enugu, Ibadan, Kaduna, and Gwagwalada FCT, plus Lagos Operation Offices. These national stations and Lagos Operation Office control 37 FRCN with FM, MM, SW stations across the country. That means they have their presence in all parts of this country. Am I correct? Yes. If they do have their presence in all parts of this country, then there must be some technical reasons why we need to have them in 6 geopolitical zones. And because of the technical nature of the bill, Mr. President, my respected colleagues, I will urge you at this level to allow this bill to be taken to the technical people, that is the committee, and let the committee look at it and see whether it is a bill that is worth it or is a bill that must die at that level. But for now, let us allow this bill to be the second reading to be taken and for it to be referred to the technical people to look at the technical issues. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
This is straightforward. So let me put the question. Those in favor that this bill read second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Act, CAP F18, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the establishment of national stations in each geopolitical zones, Abuja and Lagos, to enhance the efficient service delivery of the corporation and for other related matters, 2018, second
Ready.
A bill for an act to amend the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Act, Cap F 18, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the establishment of national station in each geopolitical zone, Abuja and Lagos, to enhance efficient service delivery of the corporation and for other related matters. 2018, read second time. This bill is referred to Committee on Information and National Orientation. Report back in 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the seventh order of the day is the second reading of the Public Service Efficiency Establishment Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first in this chamber on Thursday, the first day of February 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Dr. Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, it is yet another singular honor for me to lead the debate on a bill for an act on public service efficiency, which seeks to improve efficiency in the delivery of government services to the public by assigning clear duties, roles, powers, delegation of authority, performance targets, reward system, reducing bureaucratic red tape, preventing graft and corruption in public service, and providing penalties thereof. The bill was read the first time in this hallowed chamber on Thursday, 1st February 2018. And this bill is another contribution on the very noble objectives we set for ourselves in this 8th Senate, to ensure that there is reform in government services and enhanced performance of government ministries, departments, and agencies. The development of this bill is very dear to my heart, given the fact that the public service where I served has its numerous challenges. At the personal level, I've experienced the service where I began my career and saw enormous roles and responsibilities and constraints of public service, which was enough to spur me into thinking what can be done to help in improving service delivery. During my years in the service, I saw firsthand how dedicated, how professional, how compassionate, and indeed how frustrated our public servants are. I have seen how committed and brilliant public servants can be, and yet how the system constrains them in the discharge of their duties. This bill is therefore largely experiential, and I want to thank my distinguished colleague, Senator Dr. Abdullahi, Malam Awan Kabi, our retired permanent secretary, and Dr. Baba Hakim, the chief of staff to the Senate President, for their very insightful comments that enrich the bill. One of the keys to the success of any government in Nigeria will be the performance of the public service. Therefore, this bill is my own contribution to that endeavor and a way of paying back to Nigeria and Nigerians the good done to me, which gave me the rare opportunity to excel and be part of this respected and distinguished hallowed red chamber. I therefore see myself as the ambassador of the Nigerian Civil of Public Service in spite of the odds against the service. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the service itself is the major machinery of government for the formulation and implementation of public policies. It does this by translating the plans and programs of government into concrete public goods and services for the benefit of our citizens. The public service has the major responsibilities for maintenance of continuity and stability, and it's designed to be the prime mover of rapid socio-economic development of any nation. Indeed, the civil service has been rightly described by the former head of the civil service as the bridge between the government and the governed, stressing that an inefficient public service therefore constitutes a barrier between the government and the people. Also, as the machinery of government, it has the traditional duties to collaborate with any political party that wins election and is on power, whether or not it agrees with the tendencies and views of the government as they relate to policies for the effective identification, formulation, and implementation of public policies and legislation designed for the good of the citizenry. To a large extent, therefore, the efficient and effective performance of the public service determines greatly the level of development and stability of the nation. Unfortunately, by its nature, service delivery in Nigeria has been described variously as chaotic, epileptic, unsatisfactory, shoddy, deplorable, insensitive, ineffective, non-cost effective, and so on, and has been characterized by such negative attitude and traits as insensitivity towards customers and their complaints, lateness, absenteeism, needless delay and red tapeism, palpable negligence, inexcusable incompetence, unbridled corruption, favoritism, lackluster performance, and a general lackadaisical attitude to work. Thus, the civil service is viewed by many Nigerians as a sector for redundancy and a breeding ground for corrupt practices. The unfortunate minor saga, among many others, remind Nigerians of the wrath, ambiguity of public authorities, and invariably the need to introduce innovative measures that will strengthen the efficiency of the Nigerian public service. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, expectations from the service have almost always fallen short, and the blame game continues. But we may wish to ask why. In trying to provide answers to these critical questions, successive Nigerian government had undertaken one form of reform or the other. To this extent, between 1954 and 1999, the public services generally in Nigeria has witnessed at least 7 major reforms. These were the Gosu Commission in 1954, the Imbanefo Commission in 1959, the Morgan Commission in 1964, the Elwood Commission in 1966, Adebo Commission in 1971, Udoji Commission in 1974, and the 1988 reforms through the military decree, which many analysts believed helped to destroy the public service. Furthermore, at the return of the country to civilian rule in 1999, the government had also embarked on another round of reform in the civil service. All these reforms were embarked upon to further enhance the efficiency of the Nigerian public service. Unfortunately, none of these reforms was backed by any concrete legislation. Under the present administration, efforts are currently ongoing to reposition the civil service through the 2017-2020 strategy of the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, which was launched in February 2018 and anchored on 4 goals, which are develop and institutionalize an efficient, productive, incorruptible, and citizen-centered and cultured civil service, develop and implement an enterprise content management system, develop entrepreneurship culture and commercial orientation in the civil service, and improve the welfare and benefit package for civil servants. According to the head of civil service of the Federation, Ms. Oyoita, the strategy plan aims to create an efficient, productive, incorruptible, and citizen-centered epic civil service, and therefore immensely improve the performance of the service. Yet, the sustainability of such brilliant and innovative efforts, as in past efforts, without any legislation remains suspect and unsustainable. This bill is an attempt to address the many whys of inefficiency and poor performance in the service generally. It may not be a panacea, but it should surely enhance service delivery in the public service. Specifically, the bill seeks to enhance the following objectives as a preventive measure to curb corruption and enhance performance of the public service in Nigeria. 1. To provide a legal framework that will improve efficiency, promote integrity, accountability, proper management of public service, protect public property, as well as establish best practices and values by clearly defining roles, powers, delegation of authority, setting performance standards, targets, and method of evaluation aimed at the prevention of bureaucratic red tape, graft, and corruption in government offices. 2. Promote the ethos of service to the people by each institution of government to maintain honesty and responsibility among its employees and take appropriate measures to promote transparency in each institution in performing its official responsibilities with clear penalties for defaults thereof. 3. To uphold a public service that is 1. Imbued with the spirit of service to the Nigerian citizens, 2, operate in the collective interest of public order and good governance. 3, maintain public neutrality, political neutrality. 4, is driven by a culture of excellence and efficiency. And 5, that fosters a culture of stewardship to Nigerian citizens. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the targeted outcome which this bill seeks to achieve are: 1, effective governance and management of the various sectors of the public service as an institution. 2, organizational efficiency and effectiveness. 3, professional and result-oriented public service. 4, well-motivated public servants. 5, improved competence of public servants. And 6, accountable and result-oriented workforce. 7, promote citizens' participation in the policy process. Finally, in compliance with our order, I want to state that this bill does not carry any cost. What it seeks to do is to put very clear roles and responsibilities so that people who are in service know exactly what to do based on delegated powers. Mr. President and my respected colleagues, in view of the foregoing, I earnestly urge you to support this bill to be read the second time. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yahya Abdullahi, representing Kebinov. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, this bill is a very important bill. Coming from where we are coming professionally, I think what it seeks to do essentially is to improve accountability by curtailing discretion and ambiguity. These discretion and ambiguity are the major problems that hamper service delivery in the public service. Because the major issue is that in the course of delivering government services, public servants are not held accountable. Therefore, they will see the service delivery as a favor, as doing something to favor you or to disfavor you. And there is nowhere where we can be able in law to bring them to account. That is why inside this bill, a lot of the powers of the various organs of the civil service operators, in terms also of accountability, the definition of roles and functions are clearly defined. Therefore, failure to perform those functions as prescribed before will not earn any sanction. But now they have been codified and brought into an act of the law, where if a minister or a permanent secretary fails to do and carry out a particular function, that's a statutory function, you can hold him to account under the provisions of this act. With this, I will commend this bill to my colleagues for consideration and for passage. I know that there are many of us here who had some experience in the public service. Maybe their own comments on some of the issues that are likely going to come up are likely going to enrich the process. But I think it's an important bill which I think should be supported by our distinguished Senate. Thank you, Senate President.
Those in favor that this bill read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This bill, Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for public service efficiency and for related matters 2018, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for public service efficiency and for related matters 2018 is read second time. Passed, is referred to Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters, report within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the head order of the day is the second reading of the Counseling Practitioners Council of Nigeria Establishment ETC Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 1st day of March 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Isa Hamma Misao to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Isa Hamma Misao.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues. This bill seeks to establish the Counseling Practitioners Council of Nigeria for the conduct of qualifying examinations, regulating the counseling profession, and determine standard of knowledge and skill required of persons seeking to become members of the counseling profession in Nigeria. The bill was first read on the floor of the Senate on the 1st March 2018. The professional counselor is a highly trained individual who is able to use a different range of counseling approach with their client to resolve personal, social, or psychological problems and difficulties. Counseling profession in the country is a practice that seeks to improve psychological well-being and mental health of our contemporary society. Professional counselors are trained to counsel their clients in trauma and abuse or addiction, family and relationship problems, and many more. Effective counseling reduces confusion by enabling the client to make informed decisions leading to positive changes in their attitude and or behavior. The ultimate aim is to assist the client make their own choices, reach their own decisions, and act upon them accordingly. Professional counselors maintain professional relationships of trust that empowers diverse individuals, families, and groups to accomplish mental health, wellness, education, and career goals. Counselors work with clients on strategies to overcome obstacles and personal challenges that they face. The Counseling Association of Nigeria was founded on the 15th November 1975 to ensure human psychological growth and development and advancement of the counseling profession. The association is structured into icons, fellows, associate members, honorary members, full-time members, and student membership who possess the necessary requirement as stipulated in the association constitution, and its membership goes across all the states of the federation with 37 chapters. The objective of this professional association is to assist individuals and corporate bodies to explore their environment, discover their strengths and weaknesses, potentials, talents, and skills so as to determine their needs, set personal realistic goals, and adjust suitably to achieve them in harmony with their environments. Professional counseling services are needed in the following areas in the country: education, politics, vocational, social, personal, religious, family, economic, national interest, citizenship and patriotism, self-realization, harmonious coexistence, personal natural security, among others. The services rendered by professional counselors attempt to reduce vices, enhance stability of the polity, ensure positive individual contribution to national growth and development, thereby assisting in peaceful coexistence to develop the nation. Proper nurture and counseling of the individual is essential. The bill is a 20-paragraph legislative proposal with 2 schedules. It proposes the establishment of a council that essentially determines the standard of knowledge to be acquired by persons seeking membership of the profession. The bill provides for membership of the council, financial matters, and appointment of registrar. Other vital provisions of the bill include disciplinary powers of the council, penalties for unprofessional conduct and offences. The bill will professionalize counseling services as operated in other jurisdictions of the world, like in the UK, where there is the British Association of Counseling and Psychotherapists with over 44,000 members, an American Counseling Association, and the Canadian Professional Counseling Association, among others. This essentially will ensure the elimination of copying, misinformation, and exploitation of citizens as due process and decorum will be upheld. The bill will promote expertise and enhances confidence of members in the profession, thereby maximizing its national professional impact. The bill will enable the Council to define the scope and standards of training and practice for the counseling professions, drawing on evidence and experience reflected in differentiated membership categories. The bill will also enable the Council to prescribe and uphold the highest standard of practice of the counseling profession, thereby ensuring the benefits of the profession. In conclusion, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, professional counseling is a well-established profession in the country. Its impact on the psychological and national mental well-being of the society cannot be overemphasized. It is therefore imperative that an articulate legislative instrument is provided to facilitate its strategic objectives. I therefore use this medium to hereby urge my distinguished colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my distinguished colleagues.
Senator Gobri.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, I rise in support of this very important bill, because any bill that has to do with counseling means that people should be well professional, people should have the required qualification to be able to do that. And therefore, for somebody to be taken care of in terms of trauma, abuse, addiction, and psychological effect, there is need for somebody to be properly regulated. And with this, I feel it's a straightforward bill, and therefore I recommend for its speedy passage. Thank you very much.
So, colleagues, those in favor that this bill read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to establish the Counseling Practitioners Council of Nigeria to conduct qualifying examination, regulate the counseling profession, and for related matters, 2018, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Counseling Practitioners Council of Nigeria to conduct qualifying examination, regulate counseling profession, and related matters, 2018, second reading taken. It's referred to Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters report within 4 weeks. Leader of Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the ninth order of the day is the second reading of the National Institute of Construction Technology and Management Establishment Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will record that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 28th day of February 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Clifford Odia to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time. Senator Clifford Odia.
Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Clifford Odia, representing Edo Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead a debate on the National Institute of Construction Technology and Management Establishment Bill 2018, SB 628. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me again to lead a debate on the bill for an act to establish the Institute of Construction Technology and Management Bureau in Edo State to produce middle and high-level manpower for the nation's economic and industrial growth in the areas of construction technology, applied sciences, and management sciences. This bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, the 28th of February 2018. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me crave your indulgence to highlight the background of this bill, which I believe will not only provide a jurisdiction for this laudable legislative initiative, but will also motivate the National Assembly to accelerate the legislative process in passing this bill into law. Education is recognized anywhere in the world as a major pillar for national development. It is a recognition of this that the federal government of Nigeria formulated a national education policy that first explains the establishment of 9 federal universities, 20 federal colleges of education, and other tertiary institutions across the country. In December 2013, the federal government announced the establishment of National Institute of Professional Technology, Uromi, Edo State, to provide Nigerian youth with an opportunity for skills acquisition and vocational education and training in the construction industry, which is one of the biggest employer of labor in the country. Following the provisional approval, the federal government in March 2014 set up an implementation committee to work out the modalities and requirements necessary for the takeoff of the institute. The committee identified an approximate area of land measuring 1.7 kilometers by 1.7 kilometers, which was secured with the help of the Onoji of Uromi, His Royal Majesty Anselm Aidonuje, as the permanent site of the institute. Chief Tony Aneni graciously donated his massive Nova Hotel with all the facilities in Uromi freely at no cost to the federal government and the institute for the effective taking up of the institute. Mr. President, apart from helping to meet the manpower needs of the country in the construction sector, the institute will also help to deal with unemployment problems, provide access to higher education for the teeming Nigerian youth, and to meet their demands not only in the area of self-reliance, but also to empower them to become employers of labor. The institute has a variety of programs that are structured to equip students with practical and theoretical knowledge to enable them to advance in the field of construction technology in this modern era. The National Diploma Program, the institute offers the following courses: architectural technology, part-time and full-time; building technology, part-time and full-time; electrical engineering technology, part-time and full-time; and quantity surveying, part-time and full-time. The National Diploma Program is designed to create reputed professionals who are technological based, self-reliant, and employers of labor, who will become reference points all over the world. Apart from the diploma program, the certificate program of the institute is designed to equip applicants with practical and technical skills, which will also satisfy demands for national and international certifications. In the certificate program, the institute offers the following courses: automobile diagnosis, maintenance and security system, 4 months duration; carpentry and joinery, 4 months duration; CCTV, intercom, fire alarm and satellite installation, also for 4 months duration; concreting and masonry, 4 months duration; electrical installation works, 4 months duration; interior design and decoration, 4 months duration; plumbing and pipe fitting, 4 months duration; POP works in building, 4 months duration; tiling and stone pitching, 4 months duration; and web design development, 2 months duration. The significance of this institute is further seen in its role in accommodating thousands of Nigerian youths in view of admission crisis in the universities. For instance, out of 199,500 candidates who served for 2017 post-UME various institutions, only 28,900 will be offered admission. The various programs offered by the institute will cushion the effects of admission crisis in Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, while the federal government must be commended for establishing the National Institute of Construction Technology, Uromi, a need has arisen to lament its continuous operation based on policy alone without a legal framework. This makes the institute to lack legal personality as it has no capacity to sue and be sued in its corporate name and other incidences of legal personality. Against this background, the bill is proposed to address this challenge by establishing the National Institute of Construction Technology, Uromi, Edo State. The bill seeks to establish the National Institute of Construction Technology and Management to create a favorable atmosphere for educational development in the area of construction technology and management in Edo State, and somewhat 773, the compendium of financial
accelerate their youth into acquiring skill. This bill when passed to law will make our youth to acquire the knowledge and also be skillful. So it is important to pass this bill into law, and I urge all my colleagues to pass this to support this bill. I so support, Mr. President.
Senator Gamadi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is once more Barnabas Kemade. I represent Benue Northeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, sir, my distinguished colleagues, I think we must commend the proposal of this bill in this area of an institute to train this particular level of workmen or women for this country. We do have a depth of artisans that really know what they're doing in the construction industry. When we took the British style of education in the area of skills acquisition, where people were being trained under the City and Guilds certificates, they were well groomed to be able to know why they were doing what they were doing. But today, we have numerous artisans in this country who know what to do, but don't know why they're doing what they're doing. If you ask a carpenter to come into your premises and do a particular job, and you ask him to sketch what he has in his mind to do, he will never be able to do so. Many of the artisans that are doing work in construction industry in Nigeria come from Togo and Benin Republics, in the Francophone area, where the educational system has taken care of vocational training that is also impacted with some management capability. So I think that this bill is going to create an institute that will fill in a gap that is very, very important. I don't think we need to overflog this issue. I support this bill, and I urge my colleagues to support the establishment of this institute.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, really what I align myself with the submissions of earlier speakers, and particularly what Senator Kemede has said, that for that level, we need that level of manpower in the system to smoothen the built industry today. And this institute is a very well thought out idea. I think it's a good thing and very good product. So I want to join the earlier speakers to commend distinguished Senator Odia for bringing this. It's not really an Edo bill, it's actually a national bill. But just by way of information, the last administration of the PDP had actually commenced something in this direction by building vocational centers across Nigeria. I think whilst we are considering this bill, I also want to employ that to tell the Ministry of Education to reach out to the states where these things were built so that they can own those facilities, because as of now, in all my trips around the country, most of those facilities are actually just empty. They are just left abandoned. So it is important that the current administration should own those facilities and then put them to use. They actually build vocational centers across the country, which are actually right now left vacant and unused and inhabited by rats. So they built them across the country. So I think it's important that we do that, and if these things are done, it will also help that level of manpower. So it's not really debatable. It's a fantastic idea, and I think we should all just say aye to it. I so support. Thank you.
Senator Gunka.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I believe this bill is very timely. Why I'm saying this is that when you look at the crop of technicians we are bringing from outside the countries, coming to do things here, those that don't even have the experience, but simply because they have acquired similar qualification, like as it is prescribed in this one, they come in here, they give them jobs, they give them assignment, they employ them above our own citizens. I believe that because this bill is being brought, I believe that we can do a lot of things and to help the timid youth to gain employment with the at least qualifications in their own hands too. Having said so, I want also to encourage, because the people of the state had already given, more especially the 1.7 square meter land that was provided. They've made a little sacrifice, a very huge sacrifice. And also they have provided accommodations for even the staff that are going to stay for a longer period. This is a sacrifice that has been made. And I believe that there is no responsibilities that is not backed up with authority. And if this bill is assigned today and is approved today, it has given them the authority to back up this institution, because it will now go on along with the authority, the responsibilities and authority. So I also support this bill that our teaming youth will also gain employment via this institution. Thank you.
Those in favor that this bill read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Institute of Construction Technology and Management, UROMI, Edo State, to produce middle and high-level manpower for the nation's economy and industrial growth in the areas of construction technology, applied science and management sciences, and other related matters, 2018, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish National Institute of Construction, Technology and Management, UROMI, Edo State, to produce middle and high-level manpower for the nation's economic and industrial growth in the areas of construction technology, applied science and management sciences, and other related matters, 2018, second reading taken. This bill is referred to Committee on Tertiary Institutions and third for report within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the 10th order of the day is the second reading of the Nigerian Coast Guard Establishment EDC Bill 2018. The single senator will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 20th day of December 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Yele Omogunwa to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Omogwa.
Mr. President, my name is Yele Omogunwa, a senator representing Ondo South Central District. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, it is with a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you to lead the debate on the second reading of the bill, which seeks to establish the Coast Guard of Nigeria. I would like to bring to remembrance several occurrences in Nigeria that has led to the need for this enactment. On Christmas Day 2013, the media was awash with the news of the drowning of a teenage girl called Agnes in Bar Beach, Lagos State. Earlier on Eid al-Fitr Day, that same year, a teenage boy had drowned in that same beach. About 2 years later, a 200-level medical student of the University of Lagos drowned at Elegushi Beach, followed by the death of a Chinese national 3 days later. These are just few promising Nigerians and non-Nigerian citizens that have lost their lives in beaches and coastlines around Nigeria. These losses would have been averted with the presence of qualified and well-trained guards in our maritime and beaches nationwide. This is the practice obtainable in other jurisdictions such as South Africa, especially because the so-called lifeguards at some of these locations are not always present at times. At times are not capable of containing the emergencies that do arise from time to time. There is presently no functional government organ that is responsible for the proper administration of the Nigerian beaches and the protection of tourists and fishermen alike along our inland coastal lines. This bill It's therefore necessary to curtail and prevent the constant loss of lives that take place in these locations. It will also bring Nigeria in conformity with international best practices as obtainable in other climes in this regard. In addition, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the guard could also be administered in such a way as to generate revenue from tourists and other users alike for the government of Nigeria. This will go a long way to augment the revenue base of Nigeria. It will be responsible for the proper policing and administration of persons and infrastructures on seas and seashores. The guard will also play a complementary role to other bodies present along our coastal lines for the preservation of the maritime and its environs, as well as prevent anti-smuggling operations and other illegal activities that occur along our seas and its shores. The guard will ensure the enforcement of such other enactments that are enforced within the maritime zones. Mandate of the guard, Mr. President: disaster management along the beaches, seas, and seashores. 2. Emergency response. 3. Administration and policing of beaches, seas, and seashores. 4. Prevention of illegalities such as illegal fishing, smuggling, and violation of other maritime laws. 5. Rescue and salvage operations in times of national catastrophes or natural catastrophes. Dissemination of information, including warnings by radios and other mass media as the need arise, as number 7. Operation structure. The guard shall have a central unit divided into zones for ease of administration, operation, and full coverage of Nigeria. Conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, through the Coast Guard, there will be a legalized body responsible for the proper policing of our beaches and coastlines. This will help us to save lives lost by tourists and other users of our coastlines. This will attract more tourists and will lead to generation of revenue for the country, as signals of safety will be sent to both national and international tourists of government presence and responsibility to secure lives and property alike. Proper administration will also bring about generation of income and business opportunities to the teeming Nigerian youths. I therefore wish to solicit your support to ensure that the bill is read a second time. Our action will further prove to the entire world that our nation is responsive to the needs of its citizens, capable of protecting their lives on land, water, and seashores, and a safe haven for tourists alike. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Jibril.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barot Jibril. Mr. President, I stand to give my support, my full support to the enactment of the bill. This bill is important as it's seeking to make our country go in line with what is obtainable in other climes globally. Because we do not have a Coast Guard here, and creating a Coast Guard would help to ensure the safety of lives, and not only to Nigerians but to tourists alike, who we want them to come to this country in order to enhance our revenue generation. Right. So, President, as we speak, there's no organized arrangement that ensures the safety of lives of the people who use our coastlines and seashores. There isn't any arrangement that exactly does so. But when we have this Coast Guard to go along with, make sure that we have an organized system, an organized arrangement that will ensure the safety of people, safety, as I said earlier, safety of the users of our coastline. So it's something that's applicable all over the world. We have the National Coast Guard in America. We also have in South Africa, explained by us on any league debate. So it's something that is all over the world. You know, we are just trying, by doing this, we are only trying to go in line with international best practice. So I don't think everyone needs to support this bill because it will really help to safeguard our lives, help to give that confidence to tourists who will come, who will always. We've been talking about how the bill yesterday, which was talking about looking at so that we can rejig our tourism policy in order to make sure that it helps to bring in the needed foreign exchange that we so need in this country. So this bill, when passed, will also help in that direction. So I want my colleagues to also support this motion because of its importance. And so submit. Thank you.
Yes, and
Senator Barnabas Kimade, Benue North. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I think this bill is a wonderful idea and I think it's quite timely too. But looking at the presentation, in line with our Order 77, Section 3, the financial compendium here does not meet the exact requirements of presentation of bill. So I observe that this financial compendium will have to be adjusted and made to carry figures of financial implications so that at the committee level it will be useful to judge exactly how much it's going to cost in establishing this guard. Because when you talk about 1,000 officers and renting officers throughout the country and so on and so forth, and then you suggest also that the bill will be shared 50-50 between federal government and the guard itself, and you don't say what figure it is, then it's very, very clumsy. So I observe that while I don't oppose the passage of this bill for second reading, the financial compendium should be resubmitted. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we go with the observation that the financial position will be played on when it gets to committee level. So I'll put the question. Yes, observation, Senator Dino.
Mr. President, Dino Melai, US. I just want to ask that I know it's the practice globally for this Coast Guard.
The 11th order of the day is the second reading of the patent design. Yes. The 11th order of the day is the second reading of the Patent and Design Act Cap P2 Laws of Session of Nigeria 2004 Repeal and the Enactment Bill 2018. Distinguished Senator will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, the first day of March 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Andy Uba to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time. But that we extend our sitting.
Senator Anjuba, we're not extending time, so.
Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Anjuba, representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the Patent and Design Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018. You will recall that this bill was read for the first time in this yellow chamber on Thursday, 1st March 2018. The bill seeks to repeal the Patents and Design Act of 1971 and reenact the Patent and Design Act of 2018 to bring about an upgrade in the body of laws governing patents in Nigeria and to make provisions in respect of future patents and applications for patents for the protection and invention. The bill also seeks to give effect to certain international conventions on patents. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the existing legislation, the Patent and Design Act, is inherently inaccurate and it simply does not meet the needs of a modern society, especially seeing that it had not been efficiently updated since 1971. In 2016, we will recall that this Senate established a deliberate legislative agenda towards the improvement of the economy by way of legislative reforms, and it marked certain acts of the Parliament that needed to be proposed, amended, and repealed in order to drive Nigeria up to Ease of Doing Business Index. In a bid to better the economic prospect of our dear nation, the Patent and Design Act of 1971 was then listed as one of those bills that was earmarked for a complete overhaul. Hence, the need for this bill and this debate. In this current age of borderless international trade, Nigeria cannot afford to be isolated, neither is it insulated from world events. Therefore, the prospect of doing business in Nigeria should be at par with what obtains in other countries of the world. It is in line with the foregoing needs and pressing demands to review intellectual property laws, of which the patent law is a sub-part in Nigeria that this Senate has embarked on.
Two parties here, so sometimes we miss you. So let me take your contribution.
And the stimulation of domestic innovation activities in order to contribute to the development of Nigeria. Mr. President, intellectual property.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity. I am.
We are used to just two parties here, so sometimes we miss you. So let me take your contribution.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity.
Many forms, as we know, and those that will be protected include scientific inventions, industrial design, science of a purely commercial value or trademark, and trade secret on the other hand, or they may be in the form of a literary work, it may be
for you to ask IG to leave Anambra State granted services alone. That state is very peaceful, very safe, and the safest state in Nigeria today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Transmitting and contracting out the creation of its intellect. Those creations would have to be in some form as expressed in a legally admissible format, and in some cases are subject to registration procedures. In other words, in the same way that a person owns land or a person may own a car or any other.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity.
The law provides protection for those tangible rights and ownership, provides protection and grants the individual exclusive right to exploit the land or car in terms of selling it, renting it, or importing a car or exporting a car as it may be, in the same way with this intellectual property. The law provides protection for the exclusive exploitation, assignment, transmission, and the contracting out of novel creations of the intellect. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the patent bill is designed to enhance the quality of life for all Nigerians. It provides for an industrial property system which protects innovation and creative expression.
This vigilante
helpful free condition to creating and using new technology, and therefore it will boost economic growth and aid development. A strong system of the intellectual property rights is indispensable
it's very unfortunate
development
that
the bill seeks to protect intellectual property rights by setting up framework for civil judicial procedures that is making provisions for the objective of providing
to point out
technological
this distinguished
as well as the rapid
vigilante services
heavily dependent as this country is on science-based industry, oil, natural gas, and other fuels. In this part 3, this bill also gives the opportunity to our country as a member of the international community to protect industrial property by securing maximum benefits from being party to what is known as the Patent Cooperation Treaty, to which this country has become a signatory. The International Convention provides means whereby patents can be obtained in any or all of the states which are signatories on the basis of single international application, which is filed and processed centrally. This convention established the main principle that signatories to the convention agrees to apply to their treatment of intellectual properties in each of the countries. Mr. President, respected colleagues, this bill is a significant requirement for the improvement in the attractiveness of Nigeria as an investment location. Its implementation is a requirement for the deepening of trade relations in the global marketplace. It improves a system that is self-sustaining, and it makes a contribution to the national treasury. Finally, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, in keeping with the requirements of our standing rule by Order 73.3, which requires a financial compendium to accompany any bill, this bill has no direct financial implications, and it will be administered by the already existing apparatus under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry. Therefore, no financial compendium is attached. I therefore crave your support to ensure that this bill gets a second reading. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Jibril.
Mr. President, I am Barrow Jibril, representing Kano North. Mr. President, I stand to support this bill in entirety. A while ago, we talked about strengthening our legal framework in order to enhance innovations, invention, and so on and so forth for the overall economic development of this country. So, President, in order to allow that to really be sustainable, there should be a strong legal system, legal framework that will protect patents. Because most of these innovations are being brought about by intellectuals, inventors, and so on and so forth. And in order to allow such initiative or such an arrangement to occur in our system, then such patents must be protected. Therefore, we need to strengthen our system in order not to allow inventors, intellectuals who bring about this invention to be shortchanged. As we speak, Nigeria is a fertile ground for such activities by unscrupulous people who try or engage in stealing intellectual property of inventors, and this is not good for our system. So therefore, in order to go in line with international practice, in order to go in line with what is happening elsewhere in other climes globally, we need to support this in order to strengthen to have a legal framework that will protect the patents of people who have invented or who have created, patents for themselves, so that their intellectual rights will not be abused. I still submit this.
Those in favor that this bill read the second time say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Yeah, is that it? Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to repeal the Patents and Design Act, Cap P2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Patent Act to provide for the protection of inventions and for other related matters 2018, second reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Patents and Design Act, Cap P2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Patent Act 2018 to provide for the protection of inventions and for other related matters 2018, second reading taken. This bill is referred to Committee on Trade and Investment and report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
President and my distinguished colleague, I move that the remaining items on the order paper be moved to the next legislative day. I so move.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the other papers, the next item on the other paper, the remaining items on the other paper, be adjourned to another legislative date. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceeding on the other paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn till Thursday, the 15th day of March 2010. I so move, sir. 2018, sorry.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings, I rise to second the motion as moved by the leader with amendment that it should be, the Senate should adjourn to 15th day of March 2018.
at 10 a.m. prompt. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, just before I put the question, just announcement, delegation to condole the family of the late Senator Sunday here in the people and government of Edo State, to be led by Senator Peter Nwabushi, Senator Matthew Rogidi member, Senator Stella Odua member, Senator Gembe member, Senator Wakil member, Senator Bola Andada member, Senator Abla Yaya member. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate hereby adjourned till Thursday, 15 March 2018, 10 a.m. say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is accordingly adjourned to Thursday, 15 March 2018, 10 a.m. prompt.
You must agree with me that today's proceedings was actually a purposeful debate by the vibrant legislators. Now, after the prayers, there was actually an announcement, and after that, approval of votes and proceedings. The announcement was made by the Senate President through a letter actually seconded by Senator Godwin Fabio, where he said this action is a pointer that the country has to take security as a priority, since the Constitution's reads that the lives of Nigeria are most paramount in the Senate. However, not leaving that, one of the prayers was that the Committee on National Security and Intelligence should invite the National Security Advisor to the President to brief the committee on this situation. And thereafter, there were actually 14 bills, but only 7 was taken, while 1 was dropped down. The first bill was sponsored by the Senate leader, Senator Ahmed Lawal, on a bill for an act to repeal the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act, CAP R3 LFN 2004, and reenact the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act for related matters. It went through second reading. The bill seems to achieve expansion of value-added addition to agriculture, since that has been the yearning and aspirations of Nigeria, that it's high time they diversify economy. While it has been so wonderful, we'll expect better proceedings tomorrow. Until then, still blessed and goodbye.